I want the world to change. I think the world is not in a good place. So that's my preference, because I see this world could be best for all. That's what I see would be ideal, is a world that's best for all. So where is my responsibility in creating that? Where am I able to move in a way that supports a world that's best for all? Hi everyone, Kristina here, and I just wanted to share a point, just on my way to work now, driving, and I was reflecting on this last year and some of the more predominant experiences that I've had and words associated to that. And specifically, I have my dog Hazel with me. She's coming to work today with me. And she's 4 months old, so she's got a lot of the puppy energy, plus she's a collie and a lab and a boxer, so she's got a lot of the breed energy. And so it's really important that we exercise her and let her get out and get some of that energy out physically. And so I'm driving to work about 2 hours early, an hour and a half early, so that we can stop at a dog park before and we can do some play. And one of the points there is, I don't really want to do that. I would have to, I was thinking about, I'm going to have to, if there's no dogs there for her to play with, I'm going to have to really engage with her to get her running and get her moving so that she does burn that energy. And with that, I might get a little hot and sweaty and have to use some of my energy. So, and it's like, initially when I look at that, it's like, I don't really want to do that. But the point that stands within me and what has kind of emerged in the last year in terms of where I've been within my process is that point of responsibility. When I started the Destiny I process, in 2009, that was the key point that really resonated with me in terms of the responsibility I have to myself and how that influences this world and how it affects the world that we have today and who I am in my participation. How does that sustain what is here or support what is here or support something new? So the point of self-responsibility really was a powerful point for me in the beginning. I could relate to, I kind of like grabbed onto that point in terms of that makes the most sense to me as far as what I've missed in my life, and what is obvious to me is responsibility. What is my responsibility? Who am I? And so it's interesting because this last year, this point of responsibility has kind of resurfaced in terms of seeing more of the dimensions of it, other ways in which I am responsible, and the extent to that responsibility. How far does my responsibility go? And so I've seen it in various places. Like I told you, I see it in relation to the dog. I don't want to go run around and get sweaty and hot before work, but I have a responsibility to this dog because I chose to bring this dog into my life, and I want to provide this dog with the best possible life. And part of that is then understanding the design of the dog, and it needs movement, and it needs to get out, and it needs to move. So that's my responsibility, because if I have the dog inside all day, it's not going anywhere. It's not burning any energy. It can't open the doors and let itself out and go for a run. I'm responsible for that, just like the food, I'm responsible to feed the dog. I'm responsible to provide clean water for the dog. So it's that point of, you might not want to do something, but that's irrelevant. Your want is irrelevant. The point is, you're physically responsible for another being's life, and that's it, period. I mean, there's nothing more to say about that. And another area that I saw this point of responsibility was with my partner at home. We've been living together for since 2013, since 2015, so 3.5 years. And I've had a hard time with just the environment in terms of cleanliness and picking up after ourselves. And I've had a lot of reactions when I walk into a kitchen and it looks like someone was in there and didn't, leave it as I left it. And so, I went through a lot of points there in terms of blame and resentment and anger. Why doesn't he clean? But there's areas in my life, or, like the bedroom. I don't care as much as care about the bedroom as far as clothes on the floor as I do about the kitchen for whatever reason. There's certain areas in the house that, to me, need to be a little more consideration given to it. I guess it's like the communal areas. But anyways, getting off track here. I've walked through a process in terms of having a lot of negative experiences towards the cleanliness of the environment, and specifically my partner, because he's the only other person I live with, and so I clean and he's not cleaning, so he's the problem, But what was really interesting in the last year, what's come up for me in terms of how, because I've been working with this point, like I understand the thoughts that I have and the anger and the blame and the frustration and the conflict within me in relation to him, in relation to this point. I realize that indicates something within me that I need to sort out, okay? Because I'm the one who's having the inner conflict. I'm the one who has this conflictual experience inside myself. I'm the one that's all getting uptight about it. So I've realized and been working with this point for, a couple of years, like, okay, well, what are the solutions? Do I just clean as I see the mess and not worry about him doing anything and just do it? And I tried that, but it was in a point of like, well, fuck you, I'm going to do this then because you're not doing it, and who else is going to do it? And that starting point obviously creates more conflict, because I later then end up being like, well, fuck it, I'm not cleaning if you're not cleaning. So I've tested out different approaches in terms of dealing with myself in relation to the cleanliness of the environment and living with another person. And what came up recently in the last, I would say, couple months was this point of, again, responsibility. What is my responsibility within this? Because for me, I like a clean environment. To me, it supports me to move more efficiently and function more efficiently. It's just easy to deal with anything in a clean and organized environment. And so if that's my preference, then can't I just take responsibility for that? Do I have to blame someone for not putting away dirty dishes? Like, can't I just do that? If I'm walking into the kitchen and I see that there's a mess, I'm there. Can't I just clean that up? Why can't I? Why do I need someone else to clean up after themselves? I mean, why don't I just clean up the environment because I want it clean? So just kind of exploring more this point of responsibility. How far does it go? Like, you drop all the expectations and needs from other people. You stop waiting for other people to move and to act, and you do it. Like, why can't you do it? Why can't I do it? In that moment, I think the counter needs to be wiped off. Instead of thinking, well, they should be doing it, why haven't they done it? I can do it. I'm there. I have an arm that works, So yeah, it's been really cool to see this point of responsibility kind of emerge more in terms of being able to see it from different perspectives, and how I can more efficiently live it, because that's really the most important thing. Like, words, encompass almost majority of who we are. We speak in words, we think in words, and we live in words, whether we're aware of that or not, And my partner and my dog Hazel and my cats even in my house, and those are just two examples of where I am able to actually live the word responsibility, And I've taken it and seen it from a grander perspective. I want the world to change. I think the world is not in a good place. So that's my preference, because I see this world could be best for all. that's what I see would be ideal, is a world that's best for all. So where is my responsibility in creating that? Where am I able to move in a way that supports a world that's best for all? And, we have to start small because we're only one individual. And so I find ways that I can live responsibility in my own life within my own direct influence. And as I perfect that, my responsibility will grow and expand, because when I live responsibility as who I am in relation to everything in my world, I create a self-trust within myself, and other people can start to see that they can trust me because I make it a point to stand self-responsible, and that self-responsibility is everything in relation to self. So I'm just kind of going off a little bit on responsibility, but I did want to share that point of, it's been a really neat year in seeing more of kind of my starting point within the Destiny group was realizing responsibility. That word just really resonated with me, and now, 9 years later, coming up on 10 years later, that point of responsibility is still here, and it has evolved so that I can see it in new dimensions where I can actually live and apply it in my life, and in that have an effect on not only myself but those around me. Imagine if my approach to cleaning my environment is within a point of self-responsibility and not spite or anger or blame. That's going to have a completely different effect on my partner, for instance. If I'm cleaning in an energy of anger, he can see that. If I'm cleaning in a point of self-responsibility because I'm here and I'm capable, he can see that too. And so that affects those around me. That affects him. That has, an impression. So, So I just wanted to share that. Thanks for listening. And take responsibility for yourself and for your life, and so for others and for this life.